This is my favorite topic, body language for success. Just as a quick background, you might ask, why is that important and at such a stage? I'm just starting. Body language is a very important process to know so that you can go out and persuade people to entrust you with money and projects, because in the end it's a lot of money that people entrust you. So body language is one of the coolest tools in order to gain quickly trust, influence people, and really get what you are looking for. So let's walk through this whole thing. Language is a more recent technology. Your body language, your eyes, your energy will come through to your audience before you even start speaking. People don't just listen to what you say, but first and foremost, how you say it. And we are all wired like this. This is part of our makeup, our instinct. Body language for success. Concept. So there are basically two kind of languages, a verbal language and a body language. What is that? What's the difference? So verbal language is basically what is being said. Verbal language is designed to communicate with one another on an external level, more often than not on an informational level. So it's really, like what we are saying, as opposed to body language is basically what is the real meaning behind what is being said. Body language is also important because it's kind of much more connected to your real feelings. Therefore, it's much more persuasive when someone says something verbally and it's congruent with the body language. Body language can either support or contradict what we are verbally expressing, right? The ideal situation, obviously, is that both verbal language and body language are aligned with one another. So in some situations where this model of where there are congruence between the both, like between the verbal and the body language can be compromised is in the following situations. And you have to kind of develop an antenna for that. It's when someone is being, nervous, insecure, when obviously someone is deceptive, and when someone is not telling the truth. So you have to figure out what is it of those four? Because, for example, someone can say something is just being nervous, but it comes across like he might be deceptive or is not telling the truth. So you get and develop kind of a sensitivity to distinguish between those four. Why you want to use it for success. Successful people and leaders are intentional about their body language. Hitler, for example, was the extreme where he rehearsed for hours and hours to get tone of voice, posture, and the expression right and synchronized in order to manipulate the people. Practice and pay good attention to your own body language, especially when you are nervous or insecure. With reading body language, it's great to read other people's real intentions or to convey a certain message on a subconscious level to the other. So it's a twofold street. On one hand, you want to know about body language in order to read other people's real intentions, and you also want to give subliminal clues to other people in order to influence and manipulate them for whatever you want, to get out of the relationship or out of, another person. Knowing about body language is amazing because it helps you that other people trust you quicker. It gets you what you want. It lets you also in the end charge more money because you radiate confidence. So if you know what the clues about confidence are, what kind of posture, what kind of things you do with your body in order to signal confidence, and we go through this in detail, you'll see in a few minutes, that is where your money is basically being made. It lets you do a better job because, I follow the principle fake it till you make it. It pushes your energy and concentration levels higher up because you condition your brain, you condition your body. So if you say, I'm a first-class producer, that's what you're aiming at, and your body will, and your voice also will radiate that. So eventually you will become that. It's kind of a self-fulfilling, prophecy. So here are some samples of body language not to use. So a stressed face in this example, tense, slightly contorted eyebrows are knitted, everything that is kind of shrinking, right? And we have shrinking postures and opening postures. So if you think about yourself or about people that are confident, it's opening up. It's like a child that's happy. The body is open. Or if you feel inconfident, then you shrinking, you pulling your body basically together. So one of those is, for example, the turtle posture, like here. It suggests that you are tense and nervous. Another example would be when you have a partner that you talk to and you guys are leaning away from each other. It shows a disagreement between the two of you or a kind of skepticism. This is a beautiful one. Eye blocking. We often do that. It shows consternation, disbelief, disagreement. So look out for those cues in your partner. So for example, if you put a proposal on the table or you discuss a price and you see that type of behavior, you should try to react immediately in order, to disperse that concern that is suggested by when someone is eye blocking. And you yourself should pay attention not to do that. In general, all those categories we call, especially eye blocking and rubbing, somewhere in your face, it's called pacifying. All sorts of pacifying is that the limbic system sends a signal in your body and needs to be kind of brought back to relaxation because it feels tense. And it signals that there is a stress factor happening. Something is leading to discomfort. Something is uncomfortable for the person to either hear, to do, to express. Look out for those type of signals. Then there are other pacifying postures and gestures. Rubbing, for example, your forehead. What it suggests is struggle with what was being heard, for example. Neck touching suggests, that there is doubt and insecurity in what was heard. Cheek or face touching. Exhaling with puffed out cheeks. A man adjusting their tie. For women, it would be like just looking down the blouse and straightening up something like a button or like a little detail in the shirt, in the blouse. Another one is men massage or stroke their necks. Ventilating your neck area. Now, this is an interesting one, especially when you talk to a person, let's say at a meeting, ideally standing, but that works also sitting. When the feet are pointed towards the exit, it suggests that the person actually wants to get out of the relationship or move away from you, as opposed to when the feet are pointing towards you. Clasping of knees and shifting of weight. The limbic system signals like, okay, there's a threat or there's something uncomfortable. I have to leave. I have to move. But the limbic system is something that's very hard for most people to control, or let's say the behaviors that come actually from the limbic system. So you get really a good grasp of what a person is really thinking about you. Person talking to you with the feet pointed away, they actually don't want to talk to you really. Look at the feet. The feet are the best indicators of signals from the limbic system. The next category, sudden crossing of arms during a conversation, shows a discomfort. Closing up, being in disagreement. Splaying out is okay at home, but not during a job interview. So you should not do that. Making yourself bigger, splaying out, spreading out your arms and coming across like a big shot. So this is the opposite of what we did before. Here you want to kind of show that you're big and grandiose. And this is counterproductive, for example, in a job interview or when you talk to your client. Regal stance. Don't come too close to me. That's what it means. Another area is, all sorts of preening, self-preening, nail biting suggests that you are nervous, that you are inconfident. Hand wringing shows that you're stressed or concerned. Now, this is an interesting one. Hiding your thumbs. You think like this is just arbitrary, whatever you do with your hands, but no, they're also connected to fight and flight. Shows social discomfort, insecurity. Same is true for pacifying your hands, eye squinting, or delaying in opening your eyelids. A polite, often perceived as fake smile, lips compression, all of those things show a certain discomfort. You yourself want to avoid those things unless you want to give really a signal. Let's say you want to stop a conversation or you want to move quickly ahead and leave the conversation, or by reading someone else and then adjusting your pitch or your conversation. Lip licking. We are back now to soothing, right? To pacifying. It soothes you and calms one down. Shows that something, makes the person nervous what was being discussed. Crinkled nose is like dislike and disgust. A head down is concerned for ourselves. So when you see someone puts the head down, that means that they are more concerned for themselves. So what should you use actually? Body language you should use that when you are in a negotiation and you want to kind of set the tone and you want to do this all on a positive note. Here are the things that I suggest you kind of train yourself. Face the person you are talking to with your head and torso and the feet. It shows full attention and interest in the person and what's being said. Toes point upward. So for example, you see someone doing this, you can be sure that that person, whatever that person heard or what they are talking about, they're very excited. They are thinking or hearing something really positive. Legs crossing when standing. You often, when you stand next to someone on a cocktail party or on the street doing this little small talk, often when you have a good friend or your wife, someone you know well, when you cross your legs, guess what happens? There's a certain imbalance, right? So you expose yourself to the other person in a vulnerable way by being a little slightly being imbalanced. And that shows that you're very comfortable with the person. You don't assume a threat, where you need to be stable or be able to run away quickly, and you would never go into an imbalanced position. So this shows that you have security, that you feel secure with the other person. Arms akimbo. It establishes dominance on one hand, but also communicates issues that you're kind of a little removed from it. But it's a good, powerful pose if you want to stir the negotiation or conversation in a certain direction, or you want to show some boundaries. Interlaced hands behind the head shows also like a spread out, splaying out position. It shows comfort and dominance. Steeping of hands shows confidence. Thumb sticking out of pocket shows a high confidence. I use this all the time. Most, when I'm in my negotiations, in general, I feel in most situations not too comfortable. But in order to reach that level, I use all of those body language tricks and hacks in order to make me feel comfortable. So it works both ways. If you know about what is a body language that makes you look confident, it will have a repercussion on your feeling confident. It's a great way of actually not just pretending. You remember, fake it till you make it. So you can use actually this body language in order to show confidence, but also to make yourself confident, to influence your own confidence level. Fingertips planted spread apart on a surface, for example, on a table, show confidence and authority. A slight head tilt and smile show equally comfort and agreement. Chin comes out and nose is high. We usually perceive that a little bit as arrogant, but you can also send that message as something positive if you don't exaggerate that and use it as a comfort position for yourself. Look straight and long in the eye of the other, especially when you are talking or making a very strong or even uncomfortable statement. For example, when you name your price, don't look down. Say when you say, I charge $15,000 for this service, look that person straight in the eye and let them look away and show and display the discomfort. It's very important that at any opportunity you show confidence. And this is a biggie. When you talk, especially because it's easy, and you'll see when you observe that, it's easy when you listen that the other person is wandering around with their eyes and you are, kind of looking in their eyes, and they will just wander off with their eyes when they're talking because they use their hands, they pretend to look in the air in order to get kind of a visualization and so on. But when you are talking and looking the other person in their eyes, you radiate confidence and that you are with them. Now, I want to go a little bit into how to decipher people so that you can read other people properly. So the important thing here is everything we said is that this is true for most people, those body language behaviors. But in order to assess if this is true, you have to first look at the baseline behavior of the other person. So I give you an example. We said earlier that when someone is fidgeting, that this might show discomfort. But what if a person has just a very high energy level and they're fidgeting all the time? Then that does not necessarily mean that there are like nervous. So look always at the baseline of how they navigate, how they talk when they are comfortable, when there is no threat, when there is nothing at stake. And then look out for flare-ups and changes in their body language that drifts from the baseline. Usually an indicator of some changes from thoughts, feelings, and comfort when you see those flare-ups or those changes in their body language. So another topic that I'm covering here is that we all are interested in, does the other person actually say the truth? How to uncover a lie. When a person is speaking to us, they show usually signs of discomfort. They might be stiff in their body. They don't move much. So then you know that there is something, they're trying hard to control something when they say something that is uncomfortable, or they know inside that there is something not 100% true of what's being said. And obviously, you have to observe the baseline beforehand. So if a person is already by nature or their personality already stiff a little bit, or they don't move much, then obviously you have to see for the changes in their body language. They also try to avoid eye contact with you. Or they rearrange, themselves constantly. They jiggle with their feet, fidget, twist their hips. Another interesting thing is we see this often with women, but men do this too, that we put an object between us and the other person. It could be, a jacket that we just took off, or a bag, or when we sit on a couch, a pillow. Another one is that a person will not engage much in physical contact with you. Because again, if we are genuinely feeling good, then we open up our bodies. We allow people to get closer into our personal zone. Now, when we feel closed and lying to someone, we don't want to be detected, right? When we're lying. And therefore, we close our proximity towards other people, our personal zone, our personal radius. Another one could be eye blocking or folding hands that could be indicators of being closed or hide something. Look for slight head shaking in the affirmative or negative movement, and does it actually match with what was being said? So always, I want to reiterate that because that's super important. Establish a baseline with the other person to identify those flaring and changing behaviors by making them specifically relaxed and comfortable. And that can go when you go into your negotiations, have a drink, ask for the family, talk about things that that will make the other person comfortable and feel good. And then look for increased pacifying and changes in the body language. So let's say you talk to a person, their baseline is they're very calm and, they talk at normal speed and normal voice. All of a sudden you talk about something, all of a sudden you see a switch in the body language. Continue on that path of talking about that created, that forced that switch in the body language. And you will see if that topic the theme that you're talking about, if that will increase the discomfort. With that method, you can figure out what is actually the reality behind it. And the more you see of those pacifying and changing behaviors, the more you know that there is something different, or there's something maybe even wrong. Another one is, we said that before, a lack of hand motion or frozen body language when a person is talking a lie or talking about something that's uncomfortable. That is a great indicator of, them lying to you. So this is an overview. There's way more to it, but I hope this keeps you thinking about, because this is super important for your success when you start negotiating with clients, producers, or just your coworkers. So make this an advanced skill and make this your advantage of influencing other people with a message that you can control and an outcome that you want to influence.